So the other day I was bored and I was trying to do a project involving something with food and quality of products you see today. I was trying to be unique and quirky, so instead of like ranking them with a tier list or something, I just wanted to use like a disaster metric slash index, like the enhanced Fujita scale, which is used for like tornadoes and stuff, to rank the quality of the food. So a quality product from the likes of the Heart Attack Grill in Las Vegas would be like a F5. Eventually, the project died out as I realized just how grand the scope of that project would be. But I did find something more interesting in the process though. I just kind of started looking at every index in existence to try and find the weirdest one, and I found it. Introducing the Waffle House Index. I already know your next line. What does Waffle House have to do with measuring the impact or damage of a natural disaster? To those who have never had the experience of eating at or from a Waffle House, one of the things Waffle House prides itself on is being open 24/7. It's one of the only chain diners slash restaurants that can do that successfully, and as a result, it's a somewhat popular destination late at night, around like 3 a.m. if you want to get some waffles and whatnot. As Craig Fugate would put it, something extremely catastrophic would need to happen to get a Waffle House to close its locations or to stop operations. I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. If a disaster happens, it can be measured based on the condition slash operational status of a Waffle House location. The official index has 3 tiers: open, which is green, at risk, which is yellow, and threatened. It's represented by the color red. If the disaster is moderate, like an average thunderstorm, then you can most likely expect a location in that area to be open. If the disaster is more severe, like a Category 3 hurricane, then you can expect a location in that area to be at risk. And finally, if there is a severe disaster like an EF5 or EF4 tornado, then you can expect the location in that area to be threatened. So how is this metric in use? Like, I'm just talking about it, but was it ever actually used? Yes. On May 22nd, 2011, one of the deadliest tornadoes touched down in Joplin, Missouri, killing 158 and later being recorded as an EF5 tornado. The Joplin tornado marked one of the worst days in America and added onto the natural disaster hailstorm of 2011. Fun fact, not even a week later, I think Reno happened? Yeah. It ravaged homes and caused an estimated $3 billion in damages. But despite the damage, there was an outlier in that city. A single Waffle House existed in the city. Somehow, maybe blessed with the touch of God, the Waffle House remained untouched during the tornado and continued its operations. Nowadays, it's slightly easier for locations to hit the threatened status due to the changing, worsening climate in America. But this disaster showed just how resilient a location can get, even in the most life-threatening of disasters. A Waffle House being able to survive these natural disasters isn't a coincidence either. Compared to most other restaurants, Waffle House staff and managers are trained and prepared on how to survive even during the most life-threatening conditions. As like I said, this is something that they pride themselves on. They have mobile command centers, jump teams that help with recovery and reopening, and probably the most backup generators out of any establishment. I think the funniest and craziest part to me though is the lengths that they will go to remain open. Like, for example, during Hurricane Irene, a Waffle House off Interstate 95 in Weldon remained open, serving food to customers with barely functional lights, and they only stopped because it actually became pitch black in the restaurant. They closed the next day and they reopened, except this time they had no working overhead lights and no functioning freezer, but the grill was still working, so life continues and the show must go on. Fun fact, they also have an emergency menu due to this as well. So yeah. You have to remember, when these natural disasters happen, many people lose the access to essential utilities in their home, with the most prominent being the ability to cook and make food. In these times of emergency, you need a place like Waffle House to keep serving food because, in all honesty, who else is going to do it? In the previous example that I mentioned with the barely functional lights and the unresponsive freezer, there was still a line to get into the parking lot. They couldn't even serve waffles, the thing that's in the name of their restaurant, but they still continue to serve food. So even though this index may be a little silly and weird, you can thank Waffle House and Craig Fuentes, the person who coined this index and the former head of FEMA, for not only helping people who have been affected by severe natural disasters and keeping them fed, but also contributing to the science and data of natural disasters. And some last minute notes that I've noted. Yeah. I thought it should be noted that, more interestingly, the only natural disasters that Waffle House can really measure are hurricanes and some tornadoes. This is due to the fact that Waffle House is more of like a southern brand that started in Georgia. If you look on any map of Waffle House locations in the US, you will see them predominantly in the southeast region, with none in the north or west. The location map also perfectly lines up with the tropical storm frequency map. I'll put it on screen. If you look on the Waffle House Tracker site as of right now, you may notice that there are a ton of like locations in the at-risk/threatened state, and that's due to the heat wave that's affecting America right now. So currently I'm in the north, so it's not as horrible. In the southeast states such as Florida or like Louisiana, the temperature is as high as 105 in some areas. There's also like some flash flood warnings in Louisiana, red flag warnings in Colorado, which is basically when there are conditions including warm temperature, low humidity, and strong winds that can result in fires, and extreme heat warnings in places like Delaware and Illinois. And the last note or fun fact is that Waffle House does not have a mascot. They don't have one. So in general, as you read more into the index, you start to realize that this is more than just a silly metric, even though I phrased it like that, and something reliable actually, and helpful, contributing to the natural disaster landscape. There are other indexes out there kind of like this, like the Big Mac Index, which is like measuring economics, but I find this index to be the best one because it's actually helping people. I'd highly recommend like learning and actually doing more research on the topic because it's actually pretty cool. And visiting the Waffle House Tracker site where you can see this data in real time. I would also recommend going to a Waffle House and eating there because the food's pretty good. But yeah.